5 stocks at the Nairobi Securities Exchange that can make you rich in 2026. Which companies still have the potential to build long-term wealth? In today's video, we are counting down 5 of the best shares listed at the NSE, looking at the performance over past 3 years, their current share price, why they performed so well, and whether they could still make investors money years ahead. Let's get started. In case you are new here, subscribe and also drop a like on this video. My name is Afagza Sifunam. At number 5, we have KenGen stock. Most people don't realize that KenGen is one of Africa's biggest renewable energy companies, generating most of its electricity from geothermal power. 3 years ago, KenGen shares traded at around 5 shillings 50 cents. Today, the stock trades at approximately 9 shillings 90 cents. That's an increase of almost 80% before adding dividends paid to shareholders, whether interim or even final dividends. While the stock has not risen as dramatic this year as some banking shares, it remains one of the strongest long-term performers in the utilities sector. Why has it performed well? Several factors. First and foremost, growing electricity demand. Secondly, stronger profitability. Third, expansion of geothermal generation. And fourth, investors have improved confidence in the energy sector. Looking to the future, I expect demand to continue rising from manufacturing, electric vehicles, data centers, regional electricity exports, you name it. This tells you this particular stock is a good one to consider investing in because it has very amazing future growth prospects. It's gonna pay dividend most likely, and the risk of investing is medium to low, which is amazing when you are looking at stocks to invest in. And then shares or stock number 4, Equity Group shares. This is one of Africa's biggest banking success stories. Equity Group Holding. Many investors still think Equity is simply a Kenyan branch. No, in reality, it's now a regional financial powerhouse operating across East and Central Africa. About 3 years ago, Equity Bank shares traded at between 42 shillings and 45 shillings. Today, this stock trades at around 84 shillings. That means investors have almost doubled their money through capital gains alone, not factoring in even dividends. On top of that, we are talking about Equity having even paid very insane dividend this year. The bank has benefited from strong profit growth, digital banking, regional expansion, and trade finance. Unlike many banks, Equity earns revenue from several countries, reducing its dependency on Kenya alone. As trade across Africa continues to expand under the Africa Continental Free Trade Area, regional banks like Equity could benefit enormously. This tells you the future outlook of this is amazing. And as such, the risk for this particular investment is somewhere between medium to low risk, which makes it a good candidate to consider while you are looking to build your stocks portfolio. Stock number 3, KCB Group stock. This has quietly become one of biggest wealth creators on the Nairobi Securities Exchange. Around 3 years ago, KCB traded at approximately 36 shillings per share. Today, it is worth 78 shillings per share. That is more than 100% increase. When you include dividends received during this period, then you know very well shareholders made insane amount of money. This bank continues to deliver because of record profits, strong capital position, regional expansion, and consistent dividend payout. It operates in several countries: Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania, Rwanda, Burundi, South Sudan, and the DRC. Few listed Kenyan banks or companies have such diversified footprints and also presence. As East Africa economies continue growing, KCB remains well positioned to benefit even as the free trade area opens up. And that tells you its positioning is very solid, its future outlook around dividends is looking good, And as such, the risk of investing in this particular stock is somewhere between medium to low risk, which makes it a good candidate for you to consider when you are looking to jump into stock market investing. And then at number 2, a stock you could consider is Safaricom, the biggest company in Kenya. And of course, Kenya's most valuable listed company. A few years ago, many investors feared the company's expansion into Ethiopia would hurt its profits. Fortunately, it didn't. In fact, it made profits of Safaricom to skyrocket. Safaricom has staged an impressive growth over the years. About 3 years ago, Safaricom shares traded at about 18 shillings. As of today, we are talking about the shares trading at about 34 shillings. That's nearly 100% return on capital only. We haven't even talked about dividends, which investors have been receiving consistently. The company has, of course, transformed itself into much more than telecom business. Today, it earns revenue from mobile money, internet services, enterprise solutions, digital platforms, and of course, the big market in Ethiopia also brings in money. If Ethiopia eventually becomes consistently profitable, it could unlock an entirely new growth phase for Safaricom. Many analysts still believe Safaricom has room to grow because Ethiopia has 120 million people, making it one of Africa's biggest telco opportunities for any company. That tells you the future of Safaricom looks good with regards to its growth, future dividend potential, and as such, its risk is medium to low risk, making it a good candidate for you to consider when you are looking at stocks to buy at the NSE. And then at number 1, we have Cooperative Bank. This may surprise many people out there. Of course, Coop Bank doesn't typically make headlines as often as Safaricom or even some other banks. But over the last 3 years, it has quietly produced one of the best combinations of share price appreciation, dividend payout, profit growth, and stability in the market. And I'm saying so because 3 years ago, Coop Bank traded at about 17 shillings to 18 shillings per share. Today, the stock trades at approximately 34.9 Kenya shillings. That's almost double the price it traded at 3 years ago. Add in the annual dividends investors received during those years, both interim and final dividends. That is actually extremely attractive. Why investors love Coop Bank is because Coop Bank enjoys several advantages. Millions of SACCO customers, low-cost deposits, conservative lending, strong management, and of course, high profitability. As Kenya's economy expands and credit demand grows, Cooperative Bank remains well positioned to continue delivering value to shareholders. And that tells you its future growth potential is very high, and dividend payout potential also is looking very positive, placing it at the spectrum of low to medium risk too. That tells you this is also a good company to consider investing in. And of course, guys, if you've noted, I haven't said any of these companies is at zero risk. I've said somewhat medium to low risk because there's no risk-free investment out there. And of course, also the stock market does fluctuate. It is volatile. One important reminder for you, no stock can guarantee you'll become rich overnight. The investors who build lasting wealth usually follow 3 simple principles. First, they invest in quality companies with strong business outlook. Second, they invest their dividends instead of spending them, because as companies pay out dividends, whether interim or final dividends each and every year, don't cash it out. Reinvest in the shares for you to realize better returns. And then third, they stay invested for years, allowing compound interest to kick in. And that is how investors out there make money. In case you put down 100K about 3 years ago on these stocks I've spoken about, whichever mix in your portfolio, chances are right now you'll be having upwards of 200,000 Kenya shillings. Not factoring in dividends. I'm just talking about capital gains. That is how amazing it is to invest in stock market with the aim of you making money as long as you stick to the principles I've talked about. Guys, which stocks do you think have the potential of making you money in the stock market in Kenya? Comment down below, and in case you're in another country out there, how is the stock market or securities market in your country? Are there specific stocks which have the potential to make investors money? Comment down below. Let's continue sharing and learning together. Cheers, guys, and you all stay safe.